When learning a new language, you're gonna have some questions like, ¿Cómo se dice eso? How do you say that? In this video, we'll teach you everything you need to know for asking questions in Spanish. ¿Listo? ¡Vamos! It's fair to say that knowing how to ask questions in Spanish is a key part of becoming a proficient speaker. In this video, we'll cover the main question words like who, what, when, and where, also known as interrogative pronouns. I'll also show you how to avoid the common beginner mistake of confusing the words qué from cuál. Remember, if your goal is speaking Spanish, make sure to check out BaseLang.com where you can get access to unlimited one-on-one Spanish classes with native speaking teachers all via Zoom. Now, let's get started. There are two main things to remember when it comes to asking questions in Spanish. Number one, every question word has an accent on it. And number two, each written sentence containing a question has an inverted question mark at the beginning of the sentence and a regular question mark at the end. Just like this. ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? So, as I mentioned, Spanish question words are also known as interrogative pronouns. You'll be very familiar with these four W's in English: who, what, when, and where. ¿Quién? Which is who. In a question, ¿quién es el jefe? Who is the boss? Next, we have ¿qué?, which is what. ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? ¿Cuándo?, which means when. ¿Cuándo es la fiesta? When is the party? And finally, ¿dónde? Where. Used in a question, you could say, ¿Dónde está el baño? Where is the bathroom? So, there you have it. More often than not, we place the interrogative pronouns at the beginning of the sentence. Pretty easy, right? While these question words are typically used in the same way you would use them in English, there are a couple of exceptions that you should be aware of. ¿Qué versus cuál? Typically, ¿qué is Spanish for what? And cuál is Spanish for which? However, cuál is also sometimes used as what. For example, ¿cuál es tu nombre? Which means, what is your name? So why does this happen? Well, cuál, or cuáles in plural, is used for questions where, in Spanish logic, there's a list of many possible answers. Like in the example of asking for a name, we use cuál because, in theory, the answer is a choice from all the possible names in the world. And additionally, cuál is used in the same way we would use it in English. For example, if you're at a party with your amiga and you're trying to figure out which guy is her new boyfriend, you would say, ¿Cuál es tu novio? Which means, which one is your boyfriend? Now, on to qué, which means what. In Spanish, we use qué when the word is followed by a noun. For example, ¿Qué día es hoy? What day is today? Or, ¿Qué hora es? Which means, what time is it? We also use qué when looking for an explanation or definition. You could ask, ¿Qué raza es tu perro? Which means, what breed is your dog? Or, ¿Qué es esto? What's this? If you're still a little confused by this, don't worry. It's something that'll become second nature once you're exposed to speaking with more native speakers or reading more Spanish text. In the meantime, let's take a look at a few more examples. ¿Cuál es tu opinión? What is your opinion? ¿Qué tipo de carro te gustaría tener? Which type of car would you like to have? ¿Cuál es el problema? What is the problem? Now that we've covered qué versus cuál, let's move on to another common point of confusion. ¿Cómo? ¿Cómo is Spanish for how. Just like we use how in English, we use ¿cómo when we want to find out detailed information about somebody or something. For example, ¿Cómo estás? How are you? But when we're asking about quantities or length of time, you replace ¿cómo with cuánto, cuánta, cuántos, or cuántas. Let's take a look at some examples. ¿Cuánto cuesta? How much is it? ¿Cuántas horas de sueño necesitas? How many hours of sleep do you need? ¿Cuánto tiempo toma hablar español? How long does it take to speak Spanish? You get the idea. Now, the final thing to know is that when you want to use how with an adjective or adverb, you replace ¿cómo with ¿qué tan? Plus the adjective or adverb. For example, ¿qué tan lejos está? How far is it? Or, ¿qué tan rápido puedes llegar aquí? how fast can you get here? As I said before, knowing how and when to use these question words is something you can fine-tune over time. Once you know the basics, it's a matter of practice. And if you're ever unsure, you can always use ¿Cómo? To say, huh? Speaking of questions, are you enjoying this lesson? Would you like to see more videos like this? Then make sure to hit that subscribe button below so that you don't miss out on future videos. When to use question words. Now that you're familiar with the most common question words, let's review when to use them and the subtle differences you should know in order to use them correctly. If you're asking about a place or location, you use ¿Dónde? Where? ¿Dónde está el colegio? Where is the school? To find out information about a person, thing, or place, you use ¿Cómo? How. For example, ¿Cómo estás? How are you? Or ¿Cómo te gusta tu café? Which means how do you like your coffee? To identify a person or a thing, you use ¿Cuál? Which means which. ¿Cuál es tu hermano? Which one is your brother? If you're asking about something in plural, ¿Cuál turns into ¿Cuáles? ¿Cuáles son los libros? Which ones are the books? Or ¿Cuáles son tus colores favoritos? Which are your favorite colors? If you're asking for general information about objects or the time or other things, you use ¿Qué? Which means what. For example, ¿Qué día es hoy? What day is today? Or ¿Qué es eso? What is that? And remember, in Spanish, we use ¿Qué? Which means what? To ask for something with a specific meaning or something that has a closed option. If you're asking a question with many possible answers, you'd use ¿Cuál? Which means which. If you're asking about a point in time, you could use ¿Cuándo? Which means when. For example, ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? When is your birthday? If you're asking about a quantity, the word you use is cuánto or cuánta. These are the masculine and feminine singular versions of this word. If you're asking about something in the plural, you'd use cuántos or cuántas. For example, ¿Cuántos gatos hay en la casa? How many cats are in the house? Or, ¿Cuántas mujeres hay en el salón de belleza? How many women are there in the beauty salon? If you're asking for reasons, you'd use ¿Por qué? Which means why. You could ask, ¿Por qué no estudiaste? Why didn't you study? And lastly, if you're asking about people, the word to use is ¿Quién? If you're asking about multiple people, the plural of ¿Quién? Is ¿Quiénes? For example, ¿Quiénes son ellos? Who are they? Spanish question words and prepositions. The last thing to know when it comes to Spanish question words is how prepositions come into play. Prepositions are words that allow you to relate to different elements in a sentence. For example, the cat is under the bed. In this case, the preposition word is under. Remember, in English, the preposition words usually come after the question word. But in Spanish, the preposition word commonly comes first. For example, ¿De dónde eres? Which means, where are you from? Some common preposition words you should know in Spanish are a, to, con, with, de, from, desde, from, and en, which can be used for in, on, at, and into. For an extended list of prepositions, make sure to click on the blog post linked in the description below. Having a solid understanding of preposition words will help you think in Spanish, rather than translating directly from English, which doesn't always work out well. To reiterate, one of the main things to remember for now is that preposition words in Spanish are placed at the beginning of a question. Let's see a few final examples. ¿A dónde vamos? Where are we going? ¿De dónde eres? Where are you from? ¿En dónde ponemos esto? Where do we put this? And there you have it. Everything you need to know about the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. Or, in our case, the quién, qué, cuándo, dónde, and por qué. For an extended list of more question words, plus some practice questions to test your knowledge, check out the article linked in the description below. And of course, if you have any questions about question words or Spanish in general, then why not schedule your first class with a BaseLang teacher today? At BaseLang.com, you get access to unlimited one-on-one Spanish classes with native-speaking teachers all via Zoom. Try your first week for only $1. Thanks for watching. For another Spanish grammar lesson, check out our video on future tense. Your future self will thank you.